Canucks win. First game since March 24th. This image courtesy of NHL.com. Pretty good sight. We got a lot to get to, so let's get to it. Canucks equipment manager Pat O'Neill honored for his 3,000th game of service. Edler gives him a watch. Bieksa in the intermission says that the equipment managers are actually the hardest working guys. They get home from road trips and the players go home at 2 or 3 in the morning to get some sleep. The equipment managers are left back at the rink unpacking 50 bags at 2 in the morning and sometimes sleeping at the rink to be there so they can work in the morning. First guys there, last to leave. I was emotional watching that. Bieksa even said that sometimes the GMs will talk to the equipment managers who tend to really get to know the players in the dressing room really well and have a good opinion on guys from different teams as well. Pretty cool. Didn't know that. Holtby is in. Campbell playing for the Leafs. Will Campbell bounce back after his confidence has been shattered? After the Leafs media has built him up to become the savior of this team? I don't know. Green is coaching behind the bench. The Canucks lines are VC, Miller, and Brock, Horvat, Höglander, and Pearson, Michaela, Sutter, and Boyd, Roussel, Graovac, and Hawryluk. Defense pairings are Hughes and Hamonic, Edler and Myers, and Brisebois and Chatfield. Very inexperienced bottom pairing. The Leafs are 3 points up on the Jets, able to make it 6 with a win here. The Canucks near the basement, probably not going to catch Ottawa or Detroit or Buffalo for those total bottom spots. They'll definitely end up with probably like a top 6 or 7 pick. There's a lot of bad teams in the league this year, I think because of the divisions, where if you're a bad team in your division, you're going to get beat up by everybody else in your division. You're not going to be able to make up those points around the league. Miller opened the game with really strong pace and good possession. What a great leader. Hughes intercepts pass in front of Holtby, but immediately gives it away. He looks pretty rusty. The Horvat line established the first, sort of like the first establishment of the game and got a shot on net. Miller and Horvat would be great all night. Toronto's Mikheyev blows past Brisebois off of faceoff for a power drive to the net. Graovac had a really rough opening shift. In front of Holtby, he has a puck bounce off him dangerously to the net. He picks up from the net to move through the zone, but then gets stopped on the Toronto boards and passes it out of the zone instead of getting those pucks deep. It's going to be a big theme tonight. Rule number 1, Graovac, get those pucks deep. Sutter is shown on the bench communicating. What leadership. Miller comes on after and gets a puck deep. That's real on-ice leadership. Nylander scores. VC in the neutral zone passes to a streaking Brock, but he puts the puck a lot closer to Brock's skates than his stick. This causes a turnover to Nylander, who scores a second later, streaking down the left wing where there will be several other goals scored in that exact spot. Nice wrist shot. I felt a sinking feeling at this point seeing the Leafs capitalize so quickly on a half Canuck, half AHL team. But then I realized, we should be just concerned about getting a better draft pick, so go Leafs go. Brisebois and Chatfield are stuck against the Matthews line. And this is home ice, right? Brisebois looked really outclassed. He's picking up a loose puck and kind of softly flubs it over to the Canuck boards, keeping the puck deep, but the wrong deep. On the next shift, Hughes had a really nice pickpocket on Marner. Edler takes a penalty as he gets poke-checked and immediately spins around, putting his stick onto a Leaf player's hands, drawing a penalty. Bad Edler. He would have some real penalty troubles tonight. On the Leafs' PP, Roussel had a great opening penalty-killing shift. He stole the puck. He got the puck deep for 2 shots. VC having a real rough start. Miller causes a power play turnover, and VC jumps for it, but ends up colliding with Miller. It's just actually probably Miller's fault at that point, but I doubt Miller is the type to be saying sorry. Boyd in deep muscles a Leaf to the ice. He doesn't follow it up with a good pass, though, to keep it alive, but it's a nice play. Michaelis has a really nice flick pass through the neutral zone, and I could see him on as a fourth liner, depth player going forward, sort of a fringe Canuck. The guy doesn't do anything particularly well, but he's a little faster than you'd think. He's not super physical, but he can play the body when needed to, and he can make smart plays. He's like the perfect guy you would need in this situation, or to cover for injury. At the end of the first, Canucks did pretty well considering their insane situation of not playing for almost a month and missing a good chunk of their team. Gee, I mean, Pettersson's out. So many players are out. It's just crazy. Their defense. They're only down 1-0. In the second period, Pearson starts off well, generating some offensive chances and springing Horvat for a partial breakaway who misses the net by a mile, which he'll make up for later in the game. Horvat, a real driving force through the second period. Sweat is pouring off him, but he's continuing to get the puck deep and create chances. With him and Miller on each top line, it keeps the team competitive even when the rest of the pieces around them are fourth-line fringe players. Miller takes a penalty. Spezza checks him in the neutral zone. Miller puts a stick on Spezza's gloves. It's a penalty every time the official sees it, unless you're Matthews on Höglander later in the game, then it's not a penalty, and they'll actually show a replay saying, oh, what a great stick lift by Matthews. Yeah, sure. A stick on Höglander's glove caused the stick to go up. That should be a penalty, though, because you see players just resort to that nonstop. Somebody gets past them, and they just immediately whack the hands to try to disrupt the play. That needs to get out of the game. I don't like seeing that. The Toronto power play 1 is benched after 20 seconds of ineffective play. The camera shows him on the bench, definitely not on the ice, looking very sheepish. The second power play establishes and gets a few shots, and they put the first unit back out there. Myers and Edler get stuck on the ice after the power play. Roussel with a last burst of energy to the center line, but can't get the puck deep. The puck comes back, and the Canucks take a penalty. Another penalty. Myers is just stuck in front of the net and collapses to the ice after his 3-minute shift. The penalty was Edler going for a hit on Hyman, but he actually nails him knee on knee for a major penalty and a game misconduct. Now the Canucks tired, and depleted defense is now depleted by their most experienced and one of their best defenders. Yikes. Canucks are on the bench, sucking wind, but not Michaelis. He looks pretty fresh. I feel like at this point in the game, he didn't get very many shift. I'd say let the guy kill penalties. He's fast, he's smart, he can play the body. Use the whole bench, Travie, my boy. Will the Leafs at this point snap their long power play drought with a 5-minute major power play? Well, we'll see. Holtby, just having a great game at this point and throughout the whole game. He was letting pucks come to him. He was playing loose and reactive. There were pucks hitting the post, going through the crease. They were everywhere, and he just didn't overreact. Played it as it came. Probably like if you were a goalie coach looking at him, you'd say, Jesus Christ, technically you gave up all the technical details, but he just went with how he knows how to play, and it worked. With 3 minutes and 30 seconds left in the power play, the Leafs top line looks frustrated on the bench. Miller wins a faceoff against the second power play unit and yells at Brisebois to go, 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 go. Brisebois hesitates, winds up, and he clears the puck. The puck is deep. Brisebois, come on, build off this deep puck confidence. We need you. Holtby, pretty good at blocking cross-ice passes, which is very valuable when you're killing a penalty for 5 minutes. Holtby had another gigantic save on a rebound at the side of the net. It's pumping up the Canucks bench. Leafs finally get a goal in the last minute of the power play off of a rush. Matthews, even with Sutter all over him, tips a pass perfectly, top corner. He just makes it look easy. The goal scorers know how to score when it's pretty, when it's easy, when it's hard, every which way. The guy's fantastic. Moments later, though, Höglander anticipates Matthews' cross-ice pass, steals it, quickly springs Horvat, streaking down that left wing that Nylander was last period, who scores. Earlier in that play, Chatfield did a great job of hustling back and hounding Matthews, forcing Matthews to make that bad pass that was picked off and ended up on Horvat's stick. Höglander and Horvat had an incredible game. And Holtby, all the H's. The Leafs, they have a ton of skill, but man, they don't look playoff ready tonight. They look like their confidence is shattered after they came up nearly empty on a 5-minute major. Just wait till Foligno gets there and elevates them with deep pucks. The Canucks lineup is so watered down that when Hughes fires a laser pass after seeing all these very ordinary fourth-liner passes, it was a real shock to my system. Sportsnet... To start off the third period, Sportsnet shows that highlight I was talking about of Matthews, and Jim Houston's colorman Craig Simpson says how Matthews has really been dedicating himself to the defensive game and lifts his stick on Höglander, and it's just like so obvious that he whacks Höglander's hands, but he does it in a way that the ref can't see, and he's Matthews and he's Höglander, so he's not going to get that penalty, is he? Holtby continuing his strong game in the third, so many close saves, bouncing off posts, the guy's just so cool, so in the moment, and really nice to see him have a great game. The Canucks tie the game at this point. Hamonic checks Marner in the neutral zone. Höglander quickly taps the loose puck that Hamonic creates forward. Pearson carries it in. The puck ends up with Chatfield on the left side, who finds Höglander's stick in the crease, and Höglander quickly puts it in. That's two lightning-quick reactions Höglander had. One, to find that loose puck Hamonic created and get it forward, and another one to grab that Chatfield pass and put it in. Chatfield's first NHL point, and it's a beautiful one. Chatfield is a righty who played a bit of left defense tonight, according to Jim Houston's call. Chatfield looked rock solid in earlier outings, so he could be a valuable, cheap, bottom-pairing piece who can play both sides. The Leafs were buzzing in the final minutes, but Holtby stood tall, looking fantastic the entire game. At one point, Holtby was covering the puck, and Marner was arguing that it was in. To me, it did look like the puck went right through underneath his arm. And because of where his pad was, I would bet money that that puck was sitting in the net. Holtby did his best to sort of wiggle out, but when he got off the puck, it was very clearly in, and he tried to sneakily pull it out and then not so sneakily pull it out. But I guess they couldn't find a proper camera angle that actually showed it in, and it's innocent until proven guilty, Holtby, so he played it perfectly. Veteran move to deny the evidence, and the call on the ice, no goal. Which brings us to overtime. Wasn't a disaster of an overtime like we've seen before where teams just don't want to give up the puck. The Canucks hold on to the puck for most of it. I think Matthews breaks a stick or loses a stick at one point. The Canucks really, you can tell they really want to get this win. Emotionally, they're gunning for it. Holtby has elevated them. Horvat has elevated them. Horvat ends up streaking down that same left wing, and he scores short side again on Campbell. The Canucks are cheering like they've won the Stanley Cup. What an emotional release for these guys. The Leafs also look like they're in the playoffs, as in they just had a disappointing collapse in a game on paper they probably should have won. What a game. What an emotional game. Holtby was incredible. Horvat was all over the place, just pushing play. Höglander, so good with the stick. Pearson, earning that $3 million. You know, he's not a flashy guy, but he moves the puck in the moments that you need him to. Myers was not bad. He got stuck out there a lot. It's so hard for him to get to the bench, but I can't really fault him because they were down to 5 defensemen. Chatfield had a fantastic game. Hughes, pretty good. I mean, you can't criticize anybody in the team because this is the start of basically an impossible scenario. The team hasn't played in several weeks since March 24th. Most of the team was sick with COVID and a variant, and they were talking about how bad it was. Travis Green, Brandon Sutter, talking about how much it affected them physically, how they'd never wish anyone to get it. And they're missing Pettersson. They're missing so many guys. Edler wasn't playing for most of the game. They're missing some defensemen. Schmid. I mean, Schmid's a big minute muncher for these guys, and he's got great wheels. They had a defensive pairing of Brisebois and Chatfield, Myers and Edler, Hamonic and Hughes. And they went out there and they held their heads above water. They killed off most of a major penalty. Horvat stepped up as a captain. Miller with leadership. And guys like Michaelis played great. Jace Howrell played great. Even Roussel contributed on the penalty kill. Man, what a team effort. They made this happen through the power of friendship. What did you think? Let me know. Thank you very much for watching this. And I'll talk to you after the next game. Bye.